Hey, somebody find a word that rhymes with orange? You did? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You're listening to the Professional Noticer. Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With actual listeners in more than 100 countries, I am the Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today, and with every show we do, is to play the part of a best friend or coach. I want to help you live the life you would live by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. Our sponsor this week is Tucker ATV. Tucker ATV is more than just a place that sells Polaris vehicles. They're the best place that sells Polaris vehicles, and they're the best place that sells the Hustler lawn equipment, and they're the best place that has the Echo power tools because they have everything. They have all of everything. And this place is in Jackson, Alabama, on Highway 43 North. So it's not on an interstate. It's not in a big town. It's a small town. But Tucker ATV has a national reputation. People from 15 states now are doing business with Tucker ATV, and it's because customer service is not just a word there. Shannon and Lisa Tucker, the owners of this place, are there every day, and they take care of people. This is why people come from all over to shop with them. And they also come to see the place because it's a destination. And there's antiques, there's taxidermy, there's a taxidermied deer that is done by the world champion taxidermist, a guy named Clint Rickey up in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. And that's right there at Tucker ATV. They've got the cave, the man cave, with this. It's an outdoor porch. It's just unbelievable. Swing, coffee, television, books, everything you want to see. Antiques. It's just a cool place. And of course, the major thing is Shannon and Lisa Tucker. That's my favorite part of the whole place. Tucker ATV. It's Highway 43 North in Jackson, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers, that's what we do here. You know, usually I'm the one with the observations, and we've got, have a guest with the answers, but I have a guy here today that has observations and answers. He's a longtime friend of mine, and Ken Coleman's the #1 best-selling author of a book that I love. It's called The Proximity Principle, the proven strategy that will lead to the career you love. Ken, you'll recognize his voice and probably his handsome face as well, because Ken is syndicated all across America, and you can also hear him on SiriusXM channel 132. He's with Ramsey Solutions, up there with Dave quite a bit. Buddy, I am so glad you're here. How you doing, Ken?
Well, I am living the dream, man, and always grateful to talk to you.
I am thrilled you're here. Austin, my oldest son, was so excited to hear that you were going to be on the show. You're just a hero of his. And so, first of all, how's your family? How's everybody doing? Are you keeping Dave under control?
Yeah, well, yes, that is quite a tiger to grab by the tail, I'll tell you that. But we're having a blast. You know, the kids are great. I've got a ninth grader, Ty, a seventh grader, Chase, and we're playing football because we're free in Tennessee. And so we got a football game tonight. And Josie, our daughter, a sixth grader, she's 11. They're all healthy and doing well, and they keep me on my toes. They keep me very humble. So all the nice things that people say about me, they don't care about any of that. And that's a wonderful, wonderful way to stay humble, is to have 3 middle schoolers and teenagers.
You're exactly right. Man, tell me about the proximity principle in your own words. How did this book come about? Because you have been talking about this stuff for a long time, and I look at you and I go, man, he finally wrote the book that we've been waiting for. Because Ken's written a bunch of books, but this one, The Proximity Principle, is one you want now.
Yeah. Well, the idea came about, Andy. on the way to work one day, and you're an ideas guy, and this story will probably resonate with you, but I was on my way into work, and I was at a stoplight, and I pulled up my phone. I said, what's the first thing I got this morning? Because I'm a little bit of an ADHD guy, and so I said, what do I got here? And I saw that I had a podcast interview, and in the notes of my calendar item, it had the pre-prepared questions that the guest had sent to me. And so I'm at the stoplight, and I thought, well, let me scan these. And I got down to the very last question, and it was something to the effect of, if you could boil down your success at starting at the age of 33 and changing careers and moving into broadcasting and getting where you are today, what's the one thing you would say? And I was like, I can't do that. How do I boil it down to one thing? And then I had an attitude check. I was all right, try to serve this. And so I started thinking as the light turned. And Andy, I went about 2 miles before I hit the next red light. And in that 2-mile journey, this thought hit me. And I began to hit the rewind button and go back on my 10-year journey to this dream job of being a national broadcaster. And the thought hit me, I wasn't great at a lot of things. I didn't do a lot of things right. But the one thing I did right was I put myself around the right people and in the right places. And I kept doing it until the right opportunities popped. And I got to that stoplight, that second one. I said, that's pretty good. I think I can teach that. And then the word hit me. It was all about proximity. And so I worked for John Maxwell for years, as you know. And when you hang around John Maxwell, he turns everything into a principle. And so,
right.
All right, Andy. I think it's the proximity principle. And I pulled my phone out. And I'm a guy that, again, the ADHD, I got a million ideas, and I get ideas in the middle of ideas. And I have this audio thing where I just do audio notes so that I don't forget them. You feel me. That's why you're laughing.
Sure. Oh, yeah, man.
And I recorded, I said this. Okay, the proximity principle says, in order to do what you want to do, you've got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. And I just hit stop, and I started playing with it on the radio show. That's what's one thing that's really exciting about a radio show is you get to try out new content every day. And so the callers begin to really grab it because it was a simple concept. It really came down to this formula. The right people plus the right places equals opportunity. And that's what everybody wants. You think about it, Andy. We're still the greatest nation in the world. And if you were to ask people, immigrants, why do they come to America? And you can only give me one word answer. What would the answer be?
Proximity.
Opportunity. That's what they want. We just want the opportunity. Thomas Jefferson penned it so beautifully when he said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And what Jefferson is saying in those 3 words, pursuit of happiness, is just the opportunity to be happy, to be you. And so what has stuck with this book, it became a concept we talked about on the radio to help people get where they want to go. How do I climb the mountain, Ken? It seems so daunting, so difficult to climb that summit. And it's really not when we go, I have to continually identify the right people, get around those people. When I'm around those people, guess what? I get the opportunity to learn. I get the opportunity to do. I get the opportunity to connect with more right people. And then they steer me to the right places. When I get in the right places, what do I get to do? I get the opportunity to learn. I get the opportunity to do and the opportunity to connect with more right people. And so it's this cycle. And no matter how successful you are, no matter where you are in your journey, the currency to progress is proximity to the right people and the right places.
You're exactly right. I mean, and I know you didn't nail it that well between stoplights, but it's taken you a while to get to that. But, when you think about the opportunity of America, what creates the opportunity is the people, is the freedom. And so, you have dialed that down to its essence. That's why I said, what's the one thing they seek? Proximity. Because that's what is the foundation of that opportunity.
Yeah, listen, you show me a person that says, Ken, Andy, just can't catch a break. I'm not getting my breakthrough. I'm instantly diving into, who are you hanging around?
Right.
What places are you showing up? Well, tell me what your disciplined routine is and showing up. Are you showing up around the right people? Are you hanging around people that are doubting your dreams? You're hanging around with people that never pursue their own dreams and all they can think of is all the traps and all the dangers out there? Or you hang around people that they're doing their own thing and their very existence pulls you into their orb because they go, I want to be around them. You're one of those people for me. When I'm around you, I can't help but get fired up. I go, good grief. Andy's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing that, man, and he's helping people, and man, that's a good thought. He just said something that made me go, oh, I need to do that in my life. And so what is that going to turn into? And so that's the idea here. And you're exactly right. I've tried to boil down the journey to success to one simple thing: the diligence of being close to the right people and close to the right places. Because here's the deal. John Wooden once said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. And
boy, yeah.
The statement that is, the Wizard of Westwood, he was brilliant. He's got about 1 billion of those phrases. But what is he saying there? He's saying that if you're not in the right place, the right time can't happen. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know if I want to catch a train, Andy, I'm going to the train station. And I know if I stay in the train station, that a train is coming.
It's coming along.
And so when somebody goes, man, I just can't catch a break, I know one thing: you're not in the right place. You're not around the right people. Because when you're there, opportunities knock on your door. It's not the other way around. This idea that, with the movies and television industry has made kicking the door down and this cliff diving type mentality to your career very sexy. And it's all silly. It's not the case. The great men and women of history were in the right place, and the opportunity walked right up to them and said, here I am. And that's what John Wooden is saying.
Man, that is so good. I can't help but when I think about you, I think about the evening that Austin went up to Nashville with me, and you and I were doing Dave's show. You guest host his show quite a bit, and so we're doing that, and you immediately like grabbed Austin and said, "Hey, come here." And I couldn't help but turn on my phone and I was videoing it because I'm like, man, Ken Coleman has my kid and is just like talking this wisdom, because I know that Ken Coleman is one of these people that Austin can look back and say, that was one of the people I was around. I got to talk with him. He got to talk with me. He got to pour into me. And, that has been it's still an amazing memory for me. So the book has been out for a year, and it's still killing. It's still in hardback. It's still killing. And I'm assuming people can get that anywhere, right? Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or what about your website? Can they get an autographed copy there?
Well, not only that, Andy, they can get an autographed copy, the ebook and the audiobook read by me, all for the same price. 3 books, one price, $25. And the retail price, as you know, on a hardback was $20. So you get all 3 formats for $25 only at kencoleman.com. So how about that?
Yeah, that's the deal. That's the deal. Forget the other 2 places I mentioned. Let's go to kencoleman.com. Yeah. So that's, are you an audiobook guy?
I am all 3, interestingly enough, and it's due to where I am. If I'm at the beach, I'm the hard copy guy. I want to touch it. You know what I mean? If I'm sitting out on my back porch, if I'm in an outdoor environment there, if I'm in bed, and I read every night, I read a biography, try to read a biography a month. By the way, you inspired me on that. Then I'm iPad at night because I can do a dark light, and I kind of try to fall asleep by being challenged. But then if I'm traveling, then I'm the audiobook guy. So I truly am all 3. It just depends where I am. Yeah.
I have them going simultaneously.
Yeah.
I'll have one audiobook going at a time, but I have one hardback going at a time, like that.
Same way.
And yeah. So what's the best book you've read recently?
Best book I've read recently. I just did a deep dive on Tim Keller's book, Every Good Endeavor. And I will tell you that was about 6 months ago, and I've had some fiction in there. I'm toying with some biographies that I'm not really into. I try them. I'm like, but the best book is that, Every Good Endeavor. And so, candidly, I'm a Christ follower. The Ken Coleman Show methodology and philosophy is based on theology, and I see believe, I open up the show every day and I say, you were created to fill a unique role. You are needed. You must do it. And that comes from Genesis chapter 2, where God introduces work to Adam and Eve. And as he's created them, he's like, go subdue. And if you go into the Latin and the Greek and all that stuff, you find that the word subdue there is really create. So we were created to contribute, is how I like to say it on the show.
Yeah.
And Keller is a pastor out of New York, and this book, Every Good Endeavor, really makes the biblical case for work, which is why I know you agree with me on this, and we believe that there is there's two really distinct views of work in the world. One is the secular worldview that just says we work to live. So it's a utilitarian exercise. I work, I get paid, I'm able to pay for my lodging, I'm paying for my utilities, I'm paying for my food, my transportation, maybe some clothes, some leftover memories or whatever. So it's just a function. Versus the Christian worldview and my worldview is that there is a creator and God created us to work. Now, that is not espousing workaholism. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we were created to create and to make something. And so that's why we all long to do something that matters to us.
Significant,
so
yeah.
Look at our lives. You look at how much time we sleep and how much time we work, and then everything else. It's mind-blowing. The average American, Andy, will spend 90,000 plus hours at work in their lifetime. And then you look at the fact that 70% of Americans aren't happy at work. You want to know why? We got a lot of misery and a lot of addiction and a lot of stuff going on because people are trying to fill the hole. But you show a man or woman who's waking up on Monday morning with the juice, and they're going, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know why I'm doing it, and I'm where I'm supposed to be doing it. And it's not about me. It's that I'm doing something that I'm good at, that I love, that produces a result that matters to me. That's talent, passion, and mission. And where talent, passion, and mission intersect, that's the sweet spot. And that's where people look at you and they go, you were born for this. And so, you know, that book, Every Good Endeavor, really helped me understand that there's something bigger going on. And that's why, whether you believe in God or not, you've laid awake at night and went, why am I here?
Right. Yeah. You know, I don't mean to wear out your book, but this book is so important to me. It's one that I recommend because, as you said, there's so many people that they're not happy with what they do, and this is a blueprint for changing. And this is not just just an idea you had. You know, you had the idea of how to explain it, but you actually pulled this off in your 30s.
Oh yeah.
Tell us that story briefly.
The book is written from my journey, and it focuses on 5 archetypes of people, 5 archetype places, and then the back half of the book, so there's 3 sections: people, places, and practices. So the 5 people in the book are in no particular order here to your journey, but everybody's got to know and get around the producer. This is the man or woman who is actually in the industry that you want to be in, and they're really winning, and they may be even providing jobs in that trade. Then there's the professional. This is the person that is at the top of your craft, and you may not be able to have coffee or lunch with them, but you can follow them on YouTube or read their books or listen to their podcasts. And then there is the professor, and this is the person who can just teach you fundamentally, right? It doesn't mean a school setting all the time, but it's the professor who can actually train you on the fundamentals of the craft. And then there is the peer, and this is the person who is known for, they lift you when you need lift, they push you when you need pushing, and they hold you accountable to the dream. And then finally is the mentor, the sage, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, who not only gives us insight and knowledge, but also wisdom and guides us through. And those are the 5 people, and I unpack all 5 of those, Andy, in detail, and I'm happy to talk about it however you want. But if you've got those 5 people in your life intentionally, let me tell you something, you will never want for opportunity. And then the 5 places, the place where you are, that surprised a lot of people. You know, Andy, this is kind of my favorite place because I think we caught the reader off guard. We said, okay, the first place is the place where you are. Because everybody thinks, Andy, that you got to move somewhere.
Got to go somewhere, yeah.
Go somewhere. And, and we talk about the law of the zip code that I created in this place. And the law of the zip code says that everything you need to get started is already around you. Everything. Everybody thinks, well, I can't get started. Yes, you can. You can get started.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Start where you are. So that's the first place. And then there's the place to practice. And this is the learning phase where you're not getting paid for it, and you're just kind of getting after it, and a place to learn is next. A place to learn, that's just I'm going to get in the fundamentals. Then a place to practice, I'm taking those fundamentals and I'm not getting paid for it, but it's the intern phase. It's when I was volunteering on sports talk radio. Okay?
Right.
Place to practice. And then we got to step it up, right? What do we do next? We got to perform. We got to get paid for this. That's when the pressure starts to hit, a place to perform. And then finally a place to grow. And that's where we're looking for a place where there's a ladder, where as we perform, we know we can move up the ladder. So that's just a quick rundown. Then we get into practices, the things that you do to maximize the proximity to the right people in the right places. But that's an overview of the book, but it is a very practical guide. It's not a bunch of motivational gibberish. It's
right. That's exactly right.
This is why you're around them. This is where you find them. And this is how you act when you're around them. And this is what you do with what they tell you.
Yeah, and that's the for the audience that is with us every week. They hear me say this a lot. There's a lot of people who know how to do things, but there are very few people who can explain why they work as they do. And so this is what Ken does in this book. I mean, you can have all the encouragement in the world, and you can be around people who know how to do it. But frankly, a lot of people kind of know how to do certain things that are just kind of average things. But that's, these average people compare themselves with other people, which is why they're average. And high achievers somehow manage to compare themselves with their potential. And that's what you're doing here is comparing yourself. You're looking and saying, what is my potential? And this is an explanation of why each of these steps works as it does. And that's why I think, I had a client ask me recently, we were kind of back and forth about whether we were going to get together. And he said, you're known for, kind of coming up with different ways of doing things. Well, what if we disagree with you? And I said, well, that's a good question. I've never ever been asked that before. But, the bottom line is you're the CEO, you're the boss. You ain't got to do anything you don't want to do. But I've been doing this long enough, and I do understand that I am not going to suggest anything that I cannot explain to you why it will work as it does. And you will agree with me because I will be able to explain it. And I think, to me, that's why your book is such a valuable resource, for any age. Austin did your audio, and then he did it again. And, he's done Dave's stuff. I got to tell you this, because he won't hear this. He doesn't listen to his dad's podcast. And so, but I thought it was so funny to me. He's about to be 21. And so there is a lot of maturity, but there's room for wisdom. And there's room for wisdom in all of us. And the reason I know that there's maturity is because he's listening to Ken Coleman stuff. He's listening to Dave Ramsey stuff. But the reason I say there's room for wisdom is because even after listening to Dave Ramsey stuff, he once said to his mother, who was about to buy something, he said, you need to listen to Dave Ramsey. And I'm like, ooh, I don't think I'd have said that.
Yeah, always room to grow. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you and I talk about biographies a bunch. I recently happened upon is one of my favorite authors in the world, or he wrote one of my favorite books in the world. He wrote Forrest Gump, and his name's Winston Groom. And Winston lives around here. And there are three books. I'm on the third one right now. It's The Allies, and it's about Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin. The Generals, and this is Patton, Marshall, and that was the first one. I can't remember the other general right now. Who's the pipe?
Eisenhower. No.
MacArthur. Yeah. And then right now I'm listening to The Aviators, and it's the Spirit of St. Louis guy, the Eddie Rickenbacker, Jimmy Doolittle. But these books, I'm a history person, and I don't often run across a ton of stuff that I hadn't heard before. But you would like these books.
I love it. I'm in.
So,
yeah, I love it.
So tell us if you got, because we need to let you go. You need to go. You got a football game to go to, and I appreciate so much your time here, David. If you could wish something and make it come true for that person. Now they're going to get your book. Okay, they're gonna get your book, but they're also going to run into somebody that's going to go, what are you doing? You're 40 years old. You're 30 years old. What are you doing? Because you ran into that. I ran into that. We went against the grain, and we actually ended up doing things we love. But most people, it seems, are just not willing to face that. What mindset do they need to get into to carry through with all the stuff?
Yeah, I love that question. Well, I think there's 3 C's, and and they all work together. And so what I would wish for everyone is that, number one, they would get clear on what it is that they were created to do, that they would get clear on their talent. This is what they do best. Hard skills, soft skills. It's the collection of, we all have something that we do better than everything else that we do. I would want them to get clear on talent. Then I want them to get clear on the tasks, the functions of work that they look forward to. It creates high emotion and high devotion. They do the work for the work. It's not about the money. It's not about the notoriety. They just love the work. I want them to get clear on their passion. That's the work they love to do. I want them to get clear on their mission. That is, when they look at their work and they see the results of their work, all work creates results. That's why all work is honorable. And so what are the results of your work that make your heart come alive? You see the direct contribution that you're making. And I want them to get clear on how all 3 of those come together and where they can do that in the marketplace. Because when you figure out that sweet spot, the intersection of talent, passion, and mission, inside that contribution zone that I call the sweet spot, there are multiple jobs and careers that you can fulfill. So I want you to get clear. Now, see, Andy, that clarity right there, it's life-giving. It's the wonder drug, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But I want them to get clear, because when you're clear, you're confident. A clear person steps out and takes the steps that millions and millions and millions and millions of humans have never taken. They've never pursued the God-given purpose because of fear, doubt, and pride. Those are the mortal enemies that we're all waging a battle against, and they keep us paralyzed. So when I'm clear, Andy, now I've got the confidence. I know, wait a second, I was created for a purpose. There's something that I'm supposed to do. Somebody out there needs me to show up and be the best version of me. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about them. Now that's clarity.
Yeah.
And that clarity then gives that confidence, right? So clarity fuels that statement that I just said. See, a person is wide-eyed and they see what they're supposed to do, and it's not just seeing it, it's believing it. I know I'm supposed to do it. So that's confidence. And here's the best part, Andy. A clear person becomes a confident person. And a confident person, when life shows up and throws those detours, those brick walls, the rejections, the hurts, all the things that life throws at us, the delays, when the confidence is challenged, courage arises. But see, you can't be courageous in the moment that you've got to stay on the path and face fear and overcome doubt and swallow pride. You can't do that, Andy, absent of clarity and confidence, because in the moment we want to retreat. We go, oh my gosh, I got to retreat. I don't want to do this. This is too hard. It's going to take too long. People are going to criticize me, whatever it is. The insecurity, the anxiety. And what happens is a clear person is able to retreat to that clarity and their confidence when challenge arises again. And then the confidence turns into courage. And the courage is stepping in and stepping forward. And, I'll give you an example of this, folks. If you've ever heard of a news story where someone has, in a moment, made a decision to put their own life at risk to save the life of another, let me tell you what's happening. That little model I just gave you, let me tell you what's happening in an instant. In an instant, that person is saying, that person's going to die. I can step in and save their life. I got to do it. Clarity, confidence, and courage. Clarity fuels confidence. Confidence will fuel courage. And when you've got that combination, you won't quit. You will not quit. That's what all the great men and women have had. They just have tremendous clarity that always fuels the confidence and gives them the courage when they need it most. So that's what I would wish, is that people were clear and then on that very thing, and then that they actually stayed with it and they did it. I get pretty emotional and sad when I think of all of the people who have not met their mission and not fulfilled their potential. I'm trying to help as many people as I can, Andy, get to the end of their life and look back and reminisce, not regret. And I think when we're in 2020 and these crazy times, and there's so much division and there's so much negativity and there's so many things, and I just think, the one thing that unites every human being on the planet, creed, faith, sex, it doesn't matter, is that we all long to make a difference. And I'm trying to help as many people as possible figure out what that is. And if I could get them clear, get them to see it, get them to believe it, and then do it, and just show up and be the best version of you, because that's what you were created to do. And that, to me, is much bigger than success. You can use your talent and do a job, and you'll be successful. You can use your talent to perform your passion, and you'll be pretty satisfied. But if you use your talent to perform your passion, to produce your mission, that's significance. And that's the jam. That's the juice. So that's what I'd wish for everybody.
Buddy, that is awesome. Thank you so much. You have made a difference for us today. And I appreciate so much your time. I look forward. I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
And you guys, this is Ken Coleman. And make sure, kencoleman.com, you get the book, the audiobook, and the ebook for $25. Where are you going to get a deal like that? Come on. And Sirius Channel 132 every weekday, The Ken Coleman Show. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Andy, for having me, man. You inspire me. I've looked up to you for a long time, and I'm really privileged to call you friend. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. Hey, quick question. Where do you seek wisdom? Have you checked out wisdomharbor.com? That's wisdom, HARBOUR.com. Check it out. Go there now. If you got a free 5-minute tour and a free 30-day checkout time to see how much you love it. It's awesome. And then become a member. Come on. Do it for your family, your business, your schools. wisdomharbor.com. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing what mental energy I have, tiny bit though it may be, for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk, even behind that mask. Don't breathe anybody else's air, but make sure you have a positive answer to the question, hey, how's it going? So, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Carolina Reaper popsicles provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by paperplatesforall.com. Has your family ever argued about which size paper plates to buy? Mom wants the round one, Dad wants the big oval, and the kids want the little bitty ones. Now, there's a new possibility in town. Paper Plates for All to the rescue. For a mere $149, you can have a year's supply of paper plates delivered right to your house. What kind of paper plates, you ask? Why, every kind, of course. All the shapes are represented. You'll receive rounds, ovals, triangles, rectangles, squares, and tetrahedrons. Every color of the rainbow is represented, and each plate infused with flavor. Your shipment will include salsa-flavored plates, Cajun, cheddar cheese, ranch dressing, and bacon, just to name a few. All our plates are gluten-free, non-HMO, and when ordering, you get to choose between filtered, unfiltered, or menthol 100s. That's paperplatesforall.com. Diet and caffeine-free plates also available.